Hello, Rahul sir. Hello.
Uh, Rahul sir, can you hear us? Rahul sir, if you're trying to speak, we even cannot see your screen or we can't hear you also. And I would also request all the participants to please switch on your cameras. Yeah. Okay. Nitish, now we can go ahead.
Can you start recording? Good morning, everyone. My name is Nitish Singh Bhandari, and I am working with Punjabi Chamber of Commerce. Today, we are here for our third GYS session, that is Creative and Design Thinking, Idea Generation, and its Feasibility. Global Youth Squad is a leading entrepreneurship program dedicated to fostering future generations of industry leaders by teaching college students the reward and challenges of becoming an entrepreneurship. Vision of GYS is empowering college students with the entrepreneurial mindset, skill, and resources necessary to create meaningful impact, drive innovation, and become successful entrepreneurship in their chosen field. So for third GYS session, creative and design thinking and generation and its feasibility. Today we have Mr. Rahul Singla. He had a senior position at prestigious company like Unilever, Aircel Limited, and Samsung Electronics. Now he is a founder and managing director of Net Impact Solution Private Limited. His expertise in marketing consultancy. On the behalf of entire PCC, I welcome you as a facilitator of our GYS session. Now over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you for that warm introduction. I am Rahul Sehgal, by the way. Since we have a few folks right now, it's a Saturday morning, so it's understandable. I can say a hi to each of you guys. So, Kar, Jigyasa, Krishangi, all of you, hello. Feel free to ask questions at the end. I will start off shortly. So this session, firstly, I must just give a bit more background about myself, what qualifies me to speak here. One is the fact that the topic is on design and ideation. So in my career, I did a career in marketing. So after I finished my graduation from IIM Calcutta, I joined Hindustan Lever in marketing. So I was there for many years. So in marketing, one does get exposed to creative ideas, etc. And then I was the chief marketing officer at a telecom company called Aircel, and then at Samsung. So there also one was exposed to a lot of new ideas and innovation. Interestingly, then I turned entrepreneurial 10 years ago. So both from a marketing point of view and an entrepreneurship point of view, I'll be very happy to share my perspective. I must congratulate the folks who are there on a Saturday morning. I was myself in college, and you have to be really motivated to land up on a Saturday morning for something, for learning something new, and for raising the bar. So the very fact that you're doing that, the folks on this session, that's one hallmark of hard work and curiosity. So please keep that up. If that's one thing which will make you a successful entrepreneur or whatever you want to do in life, it is hard work. And the fact that you're here, you could be sleeping in. College students may probably have a late night on Friday, but the very fact that you are here, I just wanted to reinforce what a good thing you're doing. It's a great program also that Punjabi Chamber is organizing. So kudos to you also. So keep up the hard work, keep up the passion. That's what really makes a big difference. I'll just share my screen, and when I finish my presentation, I'll come back to this point also. Okay. So I'll give you some practical tips also of how really, in my experience, things work. But first, I'll just share my screen. Okay. So just give me a second. Okay. So my screen share. Okay. Okay. You have disabled the participation because maybe I logged out. So can you just allow me to present?
Sure, sir. Please try it now, sir.
Okay, I should be able to get there. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. Just coming there. Screen. Okay, I've got the right screen. And here we go. Okay, I'll just go into slideshow. So while I have some, talking points, what I think will be super helpful for you guys, because, you have made the effort to land up and you will have your own thoughts. When I was in college, I did my college in Delhi University. I was in St. Stephen's College. I done eco there. I was you guys are very bright, but I had never, gone to an entrepreneurial class. So I was fairly clueless that time as to, what I wanted to do. I figured I had some self-confidence that, yeah, okay, I will work hard and do something, but I was very unclear what I wanted to do. For many years, I wanted to actually join the army. So I was thinking, oh, should I do that or should I do the IAS? Then I ended up in the corporate sector. So feel free to use this session to clarify your thoughts. Any point that, triggers off some thought, you can interrupt and discuss, because it's a small group. So feel free to do that. Okay. Don't feel shy. The more you participate, the more you will benefit, and I can clarify. Okay. So the idea, the topic, as you know, is creative and design thinking and idea generation. So what I have done is I will take you through some of the, how some of the creative and design thinking helped in my career, or what I have read about, so that it can, come alive. I wanted this to be a practical session also, so that, the theory becomes alive and you can relate to it. You may use it in entrepreneurship. You may use it in any career that you go, and it's a good thing to know. Okay. So I will start with 5 or 6 great ideas. And one of this is an idea that I was personally involved in when I was I was the chief marketing officer at Samsung India. So there, Samsung actually has the largest market share today of smartphones. So one of the reasons it was able to get this big share in smartphones is that time Nokia used to rule. So I don't know whether some of you remember, but maybe about 10 years back, feature phones from Nokia. So Nokia used to be the king of smartphone markets. And then within 2 years, Samsung kind of overtook them. Within 2 years. Can you imagine? 50% market share Nokia had, and within 2 years, Samsung went to 50%. And the reason for that was they came up with a great idea, which was these guys were using feature phones, whereas Samsung came in with a new idea of a smartphone. So everyone knows the functionality is more of that. Many of you would be ordering online, or I would say burning up time on social media, or doing Google search, which is a practical and useful thing. All that gets enabled by the smartphone. Okay. So that's one example of a great idea. Can I ask any one of you or two of you to share what you feel, what you have seen is a good idea. It's about ideation. So anyone, anything. It's not like KBC here that you have to tell me that a lot of things at stake at, whatever comes to your mind. Anything that you feel that is what you feel is a good idea or creative idea. Okay, think about it. I'll come back to it. I have had the benefit of preparing for this, so I have my ideas right up front. So I'll probably have more ideas, but feel free to chip in. The second thing I wanted to share with you is, why do we need an idea? And what are these 4 P's of marketing? So let me ask you, why is an idea required for an entrepreneur? So this is open to everyone. You guys have come here. You're motivated, hardworking folks. Why do we need an idea? Someone?
So to build up a business.
Yes. Who's that? Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, Ishika this side.
Okay, Ishita, very good. But let me just probe you further. You're probably on the right track. Why do you need an idea to build up a business?
Sir,
Yeah, whoever is speaking, if you can introduce yourself.
Yes, sir, I'm Krishnangi. And according to me, idea is needed because as we are in an entrepreneurship journey, we are trying to solve a problem. And it doesn't mean just for the sake of pro bono thing or something. Even if you want to earn money, there is need to be a problem to have a solution for that. And for that solution, we need an idea, according to me.
Okay, so I'm going to, the idea of this thing is that, I will kind of push you, challenge you, so that you have, new thoughts, new ideas in your mind about ideas. So let's say you already, let's take bread. Okay. Bread fulfills a need, right? In the morning breakfast, everyone's up, I know Chandigarh mein parathas would be pretty up there in the morning breakfast, but let's take bread or toast as an example. So bread always fills a need. Okay, it's already filling a need. So why would you need, supposing you wanted to have a business around bread, the product is already there. So why would you still need an idea? Let me ask all of you, and Ishita, Kishangi, you can kind of think about it. Supposing you were to join the bread business, the product already exists. Why would you need an idea?
To have appeal to the customers, to tell them what they need more. Like suppose there's already a common flavor bread, but we want customers to know that there's something that they want, a strawberry flavored bread. So to create a demand in the society.
Okay, so you broadly on the
On
right.
the bread which can sustain for many days, which the normal bread is can survive.
Okay, who was that?
Sir Veer Sharma.
Veer. Okay, so Veer, you are saying that you'd give a pizza bread or some sort of a bread which would survive more?
Yes, sir, which have more shelf life.
Okay, so these are all very good examples. What I will do is I will teach you a concept of how marketeers look at ideas and why an idea is required. It's actually very simple. If you, Veer, were to launch a bread, for example, I've just taken a random example and we'll discuss many examples. There are a lot of breads already in the market, right? So Britannia ka lilo, let's say there would be some bread from Britannia. I'm just making it up. Now you go to the market and there's Veer bread, and you hire some people and you make great bread. You go to the same shopkeeper and tell him ke mera bhi bread rakh lo. So he will probably, unless you have a different idea, will probably say ke mere paas 4 bread to aati hi hain. Why should I keep yours? You may
Sir, they
say
provide more margin.
So you can say, I'll provide you more margin, right? So now the challenge with providing more margin, Veer, is that as an entrepreneur and as a new business, if you give too much margin, you won't have too much money left. Because most products have low margins, especially bread. So if, let's say, Britannia or Shakti Bhog, whoever is making the bread in your market, gives them 10% and you give them 20%, that will not be a very, so to say, sustainable strategy. So yes, people do give a price discount. Let's say, for example, a great example is when Jio launched, right? We had Airtel and Vodafone Idea all in the market, but they came with very, very big discount. So it's a good point. But what happens is, I personally believe that unless you have very deep pockets, a pricing strategy will only be very temporary. Okay. So yes, it can get him to place it, but soon you'll find yourself running out of money, especially when you're competing with biggies. Does that make sense, Veer? Are you able to understand that?
Yes, sir.
So I'm
Sir, we
like,
can go on to increase the quality of the product and do the best marketing and reach the best customer.
right. So basically, at the core of this point is that the reason you need an idea is that by and large, let's say if you are in an existing market, okay, if you bring out something which is new to the world, let's say tomorrow somebody comes up with a, I'm just now making it up, with something called a magic wand, okay, everyone will buy that because there's no competition. But by and large, the markets that you operate in are predictable markets, and you want to try and gain some share there. So the reason you need an idea, and this is a very practical point of view, is that most of the players who are there have been there for some time. And consumers are used to buying that product. They have also done marketing. You'll have the shopkeepers selling them. They are used to those people. They know कि time pe aata hai. If they have any problems, the supplier will replace it. So the reason you need an idea is when you go to that shopkeeper and to the consumer to market, they must feel, अरे ये कुछ different है तो मैं try करता हूँ या करती हूँ. You understand? That will just make your life a bit easier. So there's a concept called differentiation. Whenever you're trying to build a business or do something, try to use your creativity to come up with a new idea. It could be, and I'll share with you many examples. One I shared in the previous example was, somebody came in with a smartphone when Nokia was in feature phone, right? So everyone liked Nokia. They'd been around for so many years. Everyone trusted Nokia. So why would they even try a Samsung? So Samsung had to come up with a different idea that people will feel that, yeah, it's maybe a little bit more expensive. In fact, they didn't even give a discount. They actually charged a premium. But people said, my God, the features are so different, I will give it a try. So what it does is, an idea is, it gives you an advantage. Otherwise, you will not stand out. And that's a very core part of entrepreneurship and marketing. Is everyone clear about that point?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So idea is super important because everyone is putting in the same effort. But for you to get more output from an effort, for you to stand out, because you will be a new player in that market where other entrants are there, that idea will give you an advantage. It will give you a talking point. People refer it to various names by USP, some call it unique selling point, different things. Some people say differentiation, etc. So everyone tries to get an idea so that they stand out. After that, they have to go through the various P's of marketing. So now I'm coming to this slide. The 4 P's of marketing. There's a professor by the name of Philip Kotler. You can look him up later. Typically, if you do marketing or in an MBA and you focus on marketing, this will come there. So 4 P's are basically things like product, price, promotion, and place. And what he says is that most of the ideas or most of the products can be looked at in this marketing mix. And the reason I've got it here is that I want all of you to know that you can have different ideas. It need not only be a different product. You may come up with creative new ways of selling. For example, in terms of pricing, Veer and others, many people will say, okay, you know what? Bread is, let's say, 50 rupees a pack. Instead of, what I will do is, everyone is buying that, but there are some people who are very conscious about, the labels they wear, or who are premium. Let me come out with the bread, which is 100 rupees, and I will put, maybe some nuts in it, or maybe say this is vegan bread, or, it's got XYZ nutrition. So you can actually have a premium pricing also, but it has to be backed by a good product. Then if you look at promotion, many people come up with interesting ways to promote. Promotion also is like, and place is where you buy it. So you can also disrupt it in terms of place, which is many people also call that distribution. So if you look at the smartphone example, many of the new Chinese players like Xiaomi, etc., and OnePlus, instead of going through regular retail shops, they actually went through online. So they disrupted it online. I'll talk more about it later. So 2 points I want you to carry out from this. Like, why has, your course have this topic in its first place? Why the idea? So it's very important that you know that this is actually a very fundamental point. If you have a good idea, that means for the same effort, you will go further. You will have something to stand out. Okay. And the idea can be different in product. It could be different in terms of how you promote it, pricing, place. So for example, can somebody give me an example of an innovative promotion that they encountered? Or some disruption in promotion? Anyone? Promotion is a bit like advertising. Any interesting ad that you recall? Any interesting
Recently,
way?
it was a Zomato. Like everyone, it was pretty innovative. And Google's ads are always pretty impressive. Like when they mixed up 90s songs and brought it alive. And it captured all the sort of age demographic audience.
Absolutely. That's a great example. Sometimes new brands like OnePlus, when it was launched, they did this something called very cool. They said by invitation only. So everyone said, yeah, how do I get this invite? It's different that you're going to be paying big money to buy a phone. But just because it was by invite only, they created a buzz. So that's another example. iPhones, when they launched, there are these big queues that form. And that queues, they don't form like on their own. So when I was in Aircel, we actually launched, Apple in India with Apple. And the previous speaker, Mr. Jitendra Rahi, who some of you may have attended, or it was maybe a different session, he was there with me when we launched it. So they actually reach out and have, links that they give to their excited user base that you'll get a chance to come be the first to buy. So people, queue up at midnight to be the first person, and there's PR around it, and the celeb will be there. So those are some of the ways that you can have ideas to stand out. The whole idea is to work less hard or spend less to get more. Apple products are very hard, right? To sell anything. Veer, you were mentioning that we have to do a lot. मैं बहुत सारी advertising करूँगा, right? But advertising comes at a cost. One ad in a newspaper costs, front page ad costs upwards of 1 lakh. Sorry, nearly 1 crore. If I'm not mistaken, I've been out of marketing for a few years now. But front page ads, if I recall correctly, go as high as 1 crore on Times of India. So here you have people, for example, queuing up, creating buzz, putting it on their Facebook feeds, press writing about it, freaky publicity, but they work very hard to generate that. Okay. Let's see some more ideas now. So I hope this concept is clear why we need an idea. And what are some ways of getting an idea? It need not only be product, it can be on pricing, premium pricing. It could be in terms of how you advertise, differential advertising makes a difference, how you distribute. This is another example of an idea where I was involved with. So in 2007, like a long time back, a lot of the mobile phones were around voice call. So it was a voice market, right? So Aircel, when I was the chief marketing officer, like this is about 13 years back, was a new player. If we also had gone and said that, okay, we will, we are a new network operator, people will say, why should I buy you? I'll stay with Airtel only. So one option would have been that we give a price discount. But we knew that to give a price discount, in a way, you're making loss, correct? So how would we be able to compete with the Airtel or an Idea? They could also reduce their, price, and they have more money because they're a big player, so they're earning more profits. So pricing was not very sustainable. So therefore, what we did was we said, okay, everyone is talking voice. Let us talk about internet on mobile. So this was the ad that we did with Dhoni, and you can see in the circles behind, Cricinfo, Yahoo, Make My Trip. So while everyone was talking about voice, that 50 paisa mein STD kar lo, group call rate ye hai, we started talking about internet. And everyone said, "Arey, that's very interesting. This telecom seems to be more modern, more advanced." We actually got a lot of young college folks also. So I hope you can see why this this idea helped everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
How did it help? Can anyone tell me in their own words?
You differentiated yourself from the competition by bringing in specific type of.
Yes. So we started
Much
actually
more
selling.
advanced.
Absolutely. So instead of being in a longer queue, we started our own queue. Interesting thing was that we still 90% of our revenue came through voice. But that 10%, because of that 10% of internet on mobile, we actually had people saying that this is a new brand, so they will try us. Otherwise, why would somebody want to try a new brand? They'll say network theek hai ke nahi hai, customer care theek hoga ke nahi hoga. So this gave us that additional pull. In fact, at that time, when we launched this, we said that, okay, we are internet on mobile. What is the most iconic thing of internet on mobile? And everyone said, an iPhone. So iPhone actually had stopped their launch in India after an initial period. So we actually went to the US and we said that, look, can you tie up with us? We are the new kids on the block as far as internet and data is concerned. So they had a tie up with Vodafone for India and Airtel. So they said that, okay, we'll have to keep one of the biggies, but we will go with you because you have more internet users. So even a big brand like iPhone then tied up with us because of this differentiated approach. That's the power of a new idea. And Apple has so many people running after them to partner with them. But a new idea can really differentiate you, give you an advantage. Otherwise, you would be slogging it off with all the other folks. I talked about the 4 P's. So one of the P's is place, which is nothing else like other than how do you distribute your products, where do consumers buy it? And what we saw was that so I was at Samsung myself, so I've just taken a photo there. While we had a lot of, investment in retail outlets where people could see and try, many of the new brands now actually sell directly on Amazon or Flipkart. So they don't end up spending so much time on physical infrastructure, distributors, salespeople. They just sell. They give Amazon an extra margin, but they were ahead of the curve. So they sold a lot of mobile phones without having to invest in a physical infrastructure. Yeah, so this is an idea of a different distribution. Crocs are good old-fashioned rubber chappals. Yeah, we've all grown up with them. And when I first saw Crocs, I was like, buying it for my son who's now in college. And I was like, my God, $2,000 for these rubber chappals. But yes, they became a rage globally. Yeah, guys, can you see okay, so let me ask you, what has Croc done differently compared to the Bata thing?
Made a brand amongst the teenage.
Yes. How did they make a brand? Who's that, by the way?
Krishnangi.
Krishnangi. Okay. How Krishnangi, others, how did they make a brand? You're absolutely on the right track. Just look at it and tell me. Because
Their design was
absolutely
their design.
absolutely a cool design, right? Anything else?
Comfort.
By setting a standard visuality.
Comfort, sorry, that third part.
Sir, look.
Look, yeah, part of design. So can you see if somebody was saying, okay, I'll do a business of rubber chappals. I have an idea. I will give, I'll make my chappals, regular chappals. I'll put some flowers and.
The standard.
Sorry, I can't hear you, my dear. Your network is a bit patchy. You want to repeat that? Am I audible?
Yes, you are, sir.
Yes,
Okay. So one option could have been, okay, I will come with rubber chappals with, flower patterns on them. But here was an idea. Let me actually make it like a semi shoe with branding, make it cool. And you're absolutely right. They have different colors. Green hai, ye hai. I remember standing in queue for these green Crocs for my son, or purple actually. And right. And just see how much extra price they charged. 10 times as much. So this is what a good idea does. And it just goes up and up from there. And we can have great ideas in two ways. One is it can create a new market. So maybe create a new market like, the Crocs, or it can be within the market. So there was a mobile phone market and feature phones were there and smartphone came. So it is up to you whether you create a new market or you may, within the market get a new idea. Both have their advantages and challenges. New to market makes you really, really differentiated. But the challenge is that you don't know कि इसकी demand होगी क्या नहीं. So you invest in making a production facility, buying material, you take it to the market. It's a bit of a gamble. If you are, but at the same time, you will be in your own queue. So when we did the pocket internet thing on Aircel, in some ways it was slightly new to market and it paid off. If it had not, we would have been in deep trouble. Within market is, let's say, the examples are shared where, let's say, Oppo, OnePlus, same market, but new distribution idea. Okay.
Sir, I have one question.
Yes, please ask questions.
Yeah, so I realized that all those successful brands, let's talk about Crocs, let's talk about Apple. In terms of utility, they are no more than normal phones or normal sorts of footwear, right? But it comes to what they offer, as in the ideas. If you wear this, you are far ahead in fashion statement and your level of money, earning and stuff. So in the present day, when technology is so fast and brands are everyone is on online, so how do we build that? Because I understand that when they were building Apple or Crocs, they took years into it to build the so-called statement they have. But how do we build that if you're making a new brand as of in this age?
So can you just sharpen your question? I mean, I would imagine digital will make it easier.
I don't think so, because there are so many brands popping up. How would you differentiate yourself in terms of a brand statement?
Okay, so first, there are two adjacent questions. So first, let me tell you that as far as digital is concerned, digital can be your friend also. Because if something clicks, then it can be shared very fast on Facebook, Twitter, whatever. So suddenly you have overnight so many people, becoming aware of it. Otherwise, awareness itself used to take months. correct? So digital can actually work for you. And to your other point, there's so many brands popping up. Absolutely. Which is why you have this chapter in this course of creative and ideas. Ideas come at a premium, right? So those people who are smart enough and intelligent enough, creative enough, lucky enough, they will get an idea. But nowhere does it say that, all products, all brands are now full. There is no space for new things. That is not true. There will always be room for smart ideas. And you can see it in your own things. You'll end up buying, so many new brands come on the thing, whether it's food, drinks, eating out, Zomato, Swiggy. These are in many ways ideas also, right?
Yeah, got it, sir. Thank you.
So there will always be space, and he or she who gets the idea is the one who is going to then make it big, whether it is in terms of building a business or in terms of if you're in the public sector or if you're in the government sector, doing something differently, getting more bang for buck, right? A simple thing like, idea of, and I'm giving you examples which are outside the corporate sector in this thing, what I'm saying. A simple thing like, opening a bank account digitally for everyone and transferring money to them via the bank account by the government, right? With the Aadhaar card. That ensured that all the leakage to the middlemen did not happen. So that's also an idea in the public space. Here are some great innovators. I will talk about them. Do you have, so I'll talk about Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Dunlop. I'm sure all of you would have heard of some of them. Dunlop, I'll talk to you because, while I put Steve Jobs and Elon Musk, also what I wanted to tell you that the ideas can come from very normal people, like moms and dads can also come up with ideas. You can come up with ideas, and I'll come to Dunlop. What is Steve Jobs? He's considered a great innovator. Does anyone know why? Or if you know why, can you share? Anyone? Steve Jobs, you would have heard of him. Anyone heard of Steve Jobs?
Yes.
Okay, what's he famous for? Anyone? What is Steve Jobs famous for? Apple, the company.
He's founder
Yeah,
and
yeah.
CEO of Apple.
Right. So Elon Musk. Why is he okay? Why is Steve Jobs a big innovator?
What comes to my mind is the font that he started, the creative calligraphy font, which no other company in the market that time was using it.
Absolutely. That is one thing. Anyone, why is Elon Musk considered a great innovator? I find him very inspiring.
So he entered in the electronic automobiles like Tesla, invented new company.
Absolutely. Let's talk more about that. And Dunlop, anyone knows about Dunlop? Why is Dunlop? Why have I put Dunlop here?
Yes, sir. Tire industries.
Okay, so
I'll
give you some interesting anecdote about him. So let me just start off. So Steve Jobs founded Apple, and he has thousands of amazing innovations to his credit. One of the amazing things he did was that time IBM had big computers, and people had to engage with the computer. You actually had to write in your commands in a language called C. So you would have to do C:\\, put some commands. And most normal people obviously are not programmers, right? So actually his great innovation was, he said, his idea was that computers are useful, but normal people can't engage with them easily. You have to be technologically very advanced. So he came up with this thing called Macintosh in 1984. Please read up about Steve Jobs, okay? You'll really learn a lot. And Elon Musk also. What are the innovations of Steve Jobs? So he came up with this Macintosh, and these icons that we have on our laptops, desktops. He was the guy who first introduced it along with the mouse. So all you had to do to, let's say, open Excel was to click on that. Before that, you had to write these crazy commands. So he suddenly made it so much more accessible, and everyone was like, wow, amazing. And the genius of Steve Jobs was that, of course, like one of the participants mentioned, he was great into design. So it was, good calligraphy that came in. These came in different designs and colors. So that's what, his genius was. Elon Musk, his vision for the Tesla was that, look, our climate change is something which is, going to really impact severely our world. So how do I address that? We have to move away from fossil fuels. Let's go to solar. It's free. So how do I make solar power translate into, things which are adding pollution? So came the idea of Tesla. Right now, it's very interesting. His idea is that I want humans to be an interplanetary species. So he's building rockets to go to Mars. Okay, then now that's a very bold one. That's why I have kind of put him here. But remember, just see how his idea is. And I think it's a great thing about Elon Musk that many youngsters, people your age, one thing I find that they're very positive. They want to do good work for the country and the community, and the problems that, we all face. So this is his take on trying to solve the climate change problem, helping the world go solar. Amazing, isn't it? Then Dunlop. Why I got Dunlop is that, like, I want us to know that, yes, they're great innovators, but all of us can also innovate in our own everyday life. Moms are great innovators, figuring out bachon ko tiffin kya dein. Dunlop actually was a very cool dad. His, earlier on when the cycles were first introduced, they had a solid rubber tire. So when you went over pebbles or stones, it gave a lot of jhatka. So he said, maybe I can, he was a like tinkerer, ideator. He said, can I make a thing with air in it so that will become like a, more cushioned? And he did. And then an amazing industry developed from there. Okay. I'm just going to go a bit faster because I'm mindful of the time. So the next thing which I want to leave you is, how do you get great ideas? Like one of our, attendees said, it's so difficult. There's so many brands, but ideas can come. Okay. You can get ideas by brainstorming around a product category with your friends. You can go to the consumers who are using them. And I'll give you the example of Hammam soap, which I worked on when I was in Hindustan Lever. Go to consumers, ask them what is the pain point. Correct? If you, for example, went to people wearing rubber chappals and asked them, ki kya challenge hai? They may have told you that, you know what, comfortable bhi hai, but nahi bhi hai. Agar thoda se pani mein jao, to pani pair pe aa jayega, keechad aa jayega. Now, connecting that to Croc requires a bit of genius, but you'll get ideas. So, for example, this one idea we got was in promotion, communication. When I launched that, internet on mobile on our Aircel campaign, we were trying to say, how do we communicate it to the consumer? So we actually did consumer groups. And there somebody said, when we showed them this concept, they said, oh, it's like having the internet in your pocket. So we actually had our advertising call it pocket internet. So Dhoni launches pocket internet. So you can go to consumers, read a lot, guys. Okay. You have taken the effort to come here and to learn. Reading is important. Go on Google and YouTube and top innovators. Read about Elon Musk, buy his book, Apple. You'll get a lot of ideas and you'll be able to connect. You can spot a problem yourself and address that. And there's a very cool thing called alternate worlds. So I will talk about these two. So let me talk about Hammam. So in 1997, actually, when I just finished my graduation, my MBA, and I joined Hindustan Lever, I was given this soap brand called Hammam. And this we had got from Tomco. We had acquired it. And it was green in color. So everyone used to say, okay, mild soap, fresh, glowing, family soap. Then I just went to the consumers who were using it. And a lot of the consumers who were using it were from South India also. And I would just sit in and ask, the moderator would ask them, why do you use? And they would give the responsive. I would, like typical market research, be in a different room and would be able to hear. And they said, we use it because it's green, it has got neem, tulsi, all these herbal ingredients. So I started thinking to myself, they're talking herbal ingredients, we are talking family and fresh. So then I went back and I told my bosses and everyone that, guys, all the consumers think it has got neem and tulsi, whereas we are not talking about that. So let's start putting that in. And we relaunched it as Hammam the herbal soap, and its sales started doing very well. So here is how to get good ideas: speaking to consumers, asking about them, pain points, just seeing how they describe the products. There's a very nice company called IDEO. So just Google that. Like I said, read more. IDEO is got some. It's a innovation company. They're based in California. I had the privilege of visiting the office, seeing how they actually work. You can go to the website and learn about it. So one of the briefs they got was from Ferrari. And if any of you have watched Formula One, you would have seen, you don't need to be a fan of Formula One, but you'll be able to relate to that. When they're doing the rounds, do you remember they have to stop and fill, like they have a pit stop, right? Can like everyone relate to what I'm saying? There's a concept of a pit stop.
Yes, sir.
So they check the tire pressure, fuel hai ke nahi hai. Now that pit stop actually is part of the race. So the longer your pit stop, the longer you will stay there, right? And you'll be out of the race. So most of the companies and the sports companies, they try to have the pit stop to be less than 10 seconds. So Ferrari was at 9 seconds, because 1 second, can you imagine you're going at 200 kilometers an hour? So every second matters, right? The races are determined by half a second, 1 second. So Ferrari went to IDEO and said, we are currently, each of our pit stops is 9 seconds. Can you get it down to 8 seconds? So they said, okay. And they used a technique called alternate worlds. And this is something which shared with us. They said, where other place is there's a high pressure environment where, time is a big premium. And they said a operating theater in a hospital, the surgeon's time there is very, very important, right? In this case, the surgeon equivalent in Formula One is a driver. And then the nurses and the assistants, their time is not as important because, they're less expensive. So how do we have to optimize the time of a surgeon? So they went and looked at hospitals and understood how do surgeons, how can hospitals ensure that a surgeon does 20 surgeries a day? And what they realized was that the surgeon will come in and everyone keeps everything prepped for the surgeon. So he just comes in, does a certain insertions for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and then moves off. So any of his time being wasted on anything else, the hospitals make sure that they remove. So they used that whole concept of alternate worlds, that how does some other industry solve that problem, and they got it to Ferrari and they shaved off 1 or 2 seconds from there. Quite a cool example, right? And how to get ideas. So the question, how to get ideas, it is here. Now, I'll just have 1 or 2 more slides. Once you get the idea, then you have to also say, is it feasible or not? You would have all seen something called Shark Tank, or heard about it. But you don't have to have, be a person to pitching to VCs. You may put your own money. You may have an idea where you go to friends and families. Chalo, main ye karna chahta hu, mere ko support karo. But you should be able to size that idea. And how do you do that? You have to, these are some of the steps. You say, okay, what is the existing size of the market per month? So please scope that out. Otherwise, everyone feels कि मेरे को तो unicorn बनना है पहले महीने में या पहले साल में, but that is not life. So you have to scope out, okay, इस product के लिए per month कितना sale होता होगा, मेरा idea है उसको कितना मिलेगा, okay, and therefore this is the size of the opportunity. And this is a very simplistic, basic model. You also will say, okay, how many consumers, how many units they're consuming to give this 100, What is the price per unit? So this is a very important step once you get the idea of scoping it out. And the way you scope it out is you make a small prototype. Prototype will be the actual product. It could also be illustrations or drawings. Okay. And you can then test it also in a group discussion or give a few samples and get the feedback. So typically then before you actually jump into something, you have a good idea कि चलेगा कि नहीं चलेगा. So like I said, when we were doing that internet on a mobile, everyone was saying that, are you sure it will work? Everyone is talking voice and you're going to talk about internet on mobile. What if it doesn't work? We'll all be out of jobs. So I said, don't worry, we have tested it and people are reacting quite nicely to it. This is what they are saying. One of the questions we asked them that will people get confused that ये तो सिर्फ internet पे use करते हैं, इनकी voice खराब होगी. So we asked that question to the consumers. We said, here is the ad. If you see an ad like this, will you worry that क्या कहते हैं ये internet चलता होगा लेकिन voice नहीं चलती होगी? Most of the consumers actually said नहीं. अगर इसमें internet चलता है इसका मतलब voice तो अच्छी होगी. So that gave us reassurance. So you must always test it, create a small prototype. So to recap, before I get to some general learnings of an entrepreneur, what I've talked about is one, why do we need an idea? Then we talked about some great ideas. Then we talked about how to get great ideas. And then we talked about scoping these ideas so that, you feel a good idea, but you have to test it out. I have about 5 to 10 minutes left. So I'm just going to share some general learnings of entrepreneur. And, even though I was given this topic, but I just thought since you guys have taken so much effort to come in, what are some of the other skills which are important? So one is hard work. At the beginning, remember, I told you the guys that you've landed up here today itself shows that, you will do well because hard work is important. You have to sacrifice to get ahead. It doesn't come easy. Second is you will invariably end up working in a team. So try to take part in team activities. Join your college club on something. It could be robotics. It could be anything, where you're working as a team because you'll end up having to work with people, lead them. So that becomes important. Basic budget management. You must understand, okay, even just get involved in your house budget or anything else. If you're doing some project, understand, how much can I charge? How much will it cost? So Veer, if you remember when you were saying, I will give a higher margin, whether you can give a higher margin or not, those are things which will get addressed here. You must have selling skills. As an entrepreneur, you will have to go to consumers or to people talking about your ideas. So join things where you can speak up. Most of the time, some of us are shy. I used to be shy, for example. However, with practice, I started, I was pushed into having to speak to teams, to speak to various, give various presentations. As a chief marketing officer, you have to be very visible. So just hone the skills of, meeting people, talking to people, because, even though you may be a shy person, but take that little extra effort. And tenacity. Tenacity means putting in the hard work. It will not happen on day one. You'll have to, be at it. The wonderful, articles you keep reading in Economic Times, this unicorn, that unicorn, everyone thinks abhi unicorn ban jayenge. But it doesn't happen like that. You have to put in a lot of hard work. The chances of success are 10%. Rewards are great. You enjoy, working for yourself, but you have to hang in there. You don't win in day one. So I have some time. I've kept another 5 minutes for any questions, any thoughts anyone has, anything in your mind. Feel free, even if it's off the topic.
So guys, if anyone have any question, please do ask.
Anything you're at the stage where you're figuring out, what do I do in life? What, career I'm going into, anything.
Sir, I have a question. I am a law student but I have an interest in entrepreneurship also. It doesn't mean it's hard to manage both of them together, but as you're talking about it, I have certain problem statements in mind which I wish to solve or want to innovate certain things. But when I talk about it, this important is people. Like when you, it's like it's a teamwork. When you are building something, it's a teamwork. But I find it difficult to find out a certain set of, like, everyone has talents here, but how do I find that particular group of people where we can work together and build something?
It's an important point. Like I told you, getting the right people is not easy. So you have to invest a lot of time in it. And one of the most important things an entrepreneur should do is get the right team. If you get the wrong team, then a lot of your energy and effort will go into convincing or saying, "Main kaam kar rahi hu," the others are not carrying their load, or there could be disagreements. So typically, let's say after you finish your law, Kishangi, you have 1 or 2 years of experience, and then you say, okay, I have some capital, I will get into it. Then you can, go on LinkedIn and place ads, and the right people will start applying to you. It doesn't always mean that your college mates will only be your, people you can work with. You can spend a lot of time in interviews. So I have, for example, a company. We have to hire people. There's no other way from there. But what we do is we have multiple rounds of interviews. We test them before confirmation. We see how the behavior on the ground is. And it's very, very important to do that. Okay, so the way you can get in touch, Kishangi, is by going onto LinkedIn and posting it. There are a lot of sites like Naukri.com. Do a lot of interviews, meet 10, 15 prospective people. Don't, because getting the people right in an entrepreneurship, especially at the early stages, is super important.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Any other question, folks?
Anyone has any question?
Okay, if not, let me congratulate you once again on the fact that you are so passionate and hardworking. Not everyone is that, and so keep up that spirit. That's the starting point. Okay, there's some question. What are some of the common obstacles?
So we do, yeah.
Okay, so the question is, what are some common obstacles people encounter when trying to be more creative? So I think common examples when people are trying to be more creative is, firstly, you have to get that idea. Then when you actually implement that idea, when you take it to the team, when you take it to your seniors, many people may say chalega nahi. So you have a lot of people who will express doubts or say कि यहाँ पे तो ऐसे ही होता है, or why take the risk. So you can get a lot of pushbacks on why take the risk, or will it really work. Or some people may even be downright small minded and say कि मेरा idea नहीं था तो मैं support नहीं करूँगा. So the way to overcome that is to have some evidence which shows why this idea is good, how it will benefit the company. Does that address your question? Otherwise, you can ask a follow-up question. But this is a very good.
I think the question.
Kanak, this is a very. Is it Prabha or Kanak? I'm not sure because there are 3 names in that. It's a very good question. Steve Jobs once said. Steve Jobs, now you know who he is. He said that the prize doesn't go to the person who gets the idea. The prize goes to to the person who makes the idea big. Okay, so getting an idea is part 1 of the journey. I've shown you why that idea is important. But then rolling out that idea, executing it, that's where the real journey starts. But it starts with that idea, of course. Okay. Really nice interacting with you. Jatinder, you want to say any final words as I sign off?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I think Kanak has probably got her answer as she said yes, sir. So, sir, on the behalf of Punjabi Chamber of Commerce and our participants, I would like to thank you for taking out your time and gracing us with your expertise and, of course, sharing your invaluable insights with us. And I would also like to thank you for uh, joining us today and giving us such informative session, and looking forward for many more such sessions, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for inviting me and allowing me to share with your folks. All of you, I wish you a great college years. Please enjoy them also. Don't only stress about what will I do after that, because they are the best years of your life. So do hard work, but also relax and enjoy yourself. And all the best for your careers. Thank you. Signing off.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.